Look at this question. The sentences given below, when properly sequenced, form a coherent paragraph. Each sentence is labeled with a number. Decide on the most logical order and enter the sequence of numbers in the space provided. He just harvested the wild greens. He is referring to some person. So this probably should not be the starting statement. The hunter-gatherer went from place to place in search of food. So we are talking about this person. Two can be the starting statement. As the crops begin to give better yields, we can relate statement 3 with 1. He just harvested the wild grains and now the crops begin to give better yields. This reduced his need to go in search of animals and wild plants. So probably this can be the concluding statement. This was followed by an attempt to grow food by scattering the spare grains. What is this referring to? Going from place to place. So 2 should be the starting statement followed by 4, because then you come up with an idea of growing food by scattering the spare grains. Then you harvest the wild grains and then the crops begin to give better yields. So 2, 4, 1, 3 will be the answer order for this particular question. Next question. People here are one injury away. So when we are using the word here, there must be some reference. One should not be the starting statement. Soon, however, she notices. Again, she must be referred to some female member here. So probably we'll say second should also not be the starting statement. Life in rural Kashmiri village seems idyllic to Shalini. Idyllic is like kind of perfect, very happy to Shalini at first. So we are talking about Shalini here. We are talking about life in rural Kashmiri village. At first, as she is befriending lovely people and admiring majestic natural scenery, especially in contrast to the cacophony of urban Mumbai. Cacophony is kind of noise, right? Disturbing, not very peaceful. So yes, 3 can be the starting statement. So it is introducing that Shalini is trying to befriend lovely people. She's admiring natural scenery and everything, and village seems idyllic. Now, whenever we talk about such things, the next statement generally either we elaborate that idea, we talk positive about it, or we immediately contradict it and show the negative aspect of the picture. So look at the statement 2. Soon, however, she notices the lack of access to basic medical care or education. So second statement can definitely follow third statement as they are in contrast with one another or each other here. Moreover, the life present political disruptions mean that life in Kashmir is far from a Shangri-La utopia. Utopia is a kind of perfect place, imaginary place, and you get everything. Shangri-La is showing earthly paradise here. So this probably should be the concluding statement because it is talking about a imaginative place and it's showing that everything is perfect here. So before making such claims, positive or negative aspects has to be discussed. So therefore, first statement cannot be the last statement. It should follow the second statement. People here are one injury away from starvation, one misspoken word away from detainment or death. Moreover, the ever-present political disruptions. Moreover, also says that this must be the last statement, means that life in Kashmir is far from a Shangri-La utopia, a concluding statement. So the correct answer order will be 3, 2, 1, 4. Look at the next question. The study published. So we are talking about some study. And this study is about what? We do not know. Probably one should not be the starting statement. Incredible as it may sound, we are now told that democracy is not just good for the soul, it is good for the body too. So here, this can be the starting statement. We need to focus on other statements also. Without pressure from voters or foreign aid agencies, dictators have less incentives to finance more expensive prevention and treatment to heart disease, cancers, and other chronic illnesses. Probably this will be something which is related with the democracy or dictatorship and health issues of people. The study suggests, the study again, so we are talking about a study that elections and the health of the people are increasingly inseparable. A study planning. So we can say that statement number 5 should come before statement number 4 and statement number 1 because we are talking about the study. Which study? A study in general way we are talking in the fifth statement. So definitely our second statement should be the starting statement. What it says, incredibly as it may sound. We are now told that democracy is not just good for the soul, it is good for the body too. We are now told. Okay, this is the main area where we need to focus upon. And then can I go to a study, because 3 probably will be the last concluding statement here. A study spanning 170 countries found a strong correlation between health and the most progressive form of government. So we are talking about health and most progressive form of government. Fifth should follow the second statement. Now, what about between 1 and 4? 1 should come before 4 because 1 says the study published in the Lancet recently. It talks about where it has been published, the journal. Right? So yes, 1 further adds value to the study by mentioning where it has been published. So the study published in the Lancet recently revealed that people living in the democratic countries live longer than those who don't. Now, here one more thing we can say, a correlationship between health and the most progressive form of government. So, democracy is probably the most progressive form of government. They also have less of a chance of dying from heart disease, strokes, and even road accidents. We are now mentioning what kind of disease we can come across. Now look at the statement 4. The study suggests, again further elaborating it, the elections and health of the people are increasingly inseparable. So, form of government and health and election. So fourth will be here. And look at the last statement here. Without pressure from voters. So when we are talking about voters, we are focusing on elections. So third has to come after the fourth statement. Without pressure from voters or foreign aid agencies, dictators have less incentive because they do not have any incentive to finance more expensive prevention and treatment of heart disease, cancers, and other chronic illnesses. It is kind of concluding the idea by mentioning dictatorship. So democracy, form of government, advantages, study, relation between health and election and the voters. There is no pressure, so they have less incentives. So that is why we can relate all the things in a sequence. 25143 will be the correct answer order. Look at this question. However, they stand out. Now, what this they is referring to? We need some reference here. So we cannot say that this is the starting statement. An indie film refers to independent films made outside a major studio system. Yes, that sounds the introduction of the subject indie film. Their release is also limited to few screens, although there have been films with a wide release. So there means we are talking about indie film. Most of such films, so we are again talking about indie film, definitely 2 should be the starting statement. So before we talk about release, we should also talk about how it is produced. So most of such films are low budget films produced and distributed by small companies. So we can go fourth as the following statement after statement number 2. And 3 is talking about distribution, which is mentioned here, distribution. So their release is also limited to a few screens. So 2, 4, 3, they kind of form a proper sequence. 2 is the starting statement. Now, when we look at statement number 1, this is a kind of contradictory statement, or we can say thought reversal statement. Here, so far, we are talking about the kind of challenges these movies are facing. But 1 talks about the positive aspect of it. And it says, however, they stand out because they help the filmmaker realize his personal artistic vision. So yes, concluding statement has to be the first statement. The right order will be 2431. Next question. Mental illness continues to struggle for recognition as a significant contributor to poor health. In spite of the existence of the Mental Health Care Act 2017, we are looking at mental illness and its struggle for recognition. The data reveals that an estimated 1 in 7 Indians, or 197 million persons, it's a great number, suffered from mental disorders at varying degrees of severity in 2017. It is talking about the severity of situation. 197 million persons is a huge number. Okay, there is always more to human health than meets the eye. It's a general statement. This is particularly important in the Indian culture and political context, where the outward appearance, so we are talking about outward appearance, and here we say then meets the eye. So statement 4 must follow statement 3. There is always more to human health than meets the eye. This is particularly important in the Indian cultural and political context, where the outward appearance of physical well-being is often considered the only visible marker of overall health. So outward appearance is what we are focusing upon, overall health. But the idea is given here that there is always more to human health than meets the eye. And here when we look at this, definitely one should be the preceding statement of statement 2, because one is talking about the issue mental illness continues with. So it is continues to struggle for recognition, and because we are now focusing only on the outward appearance and this is the only marker of overall health, but mental illness is something which is not visible to you, but this is something which is very important, and we are talking about with the data reveals the number of persons who are suffering with this. So if we look at the combined order, the answer order will be 3, 4, 1, 2. Next, it was felt that the major polluters had a moral obligation to deliver on the agreements reached some years ago during a similar convention on climate change. So there must be a similar convention in the coming statements. The papers presented, it was again in the convention, that the impacts of current warming are much more severe than previously understood. It appears that planet's ability to adapt to and cope with how it is being treated is frail. Normally, we talk about a rope or a fabric when it is like worn at the edges, then we use the word frail. So here we are talking about planet's ability to adapt to and cope with. This can be the introductory statement. It is conveying an idea about the planet's ability to adapt and cope with how it is being treated. For example, the acceleration of sea level rise and ocean warming and increasing risk of reaching limits to adaptation. So we are talking about adapt to. Fourth is elaborating that idea. So if we say 3 is the starting statement, 4 will further explain the idea. This is what emerged at a recent conference. So because 1 and 2 we are talking about a convention or a conference and paper was presented there. So this is what emerged at a recent conference attended by the largest scientific community on climate science. So 3, 4, 5 will definitely be the first 3 statements from the given 5. It was felt that the major polluters, this sounds more like a concluding statement. The papers presented indicated the impacts of current warming are much more severe than previously understood. So 2 should follow 5 and last statement should be the first statement. So the correct answer order will be 3, 4, 5, 2, 1. The best sentence to start will be the fourth sentence. Why? It introduces the subject. To succeed in today's global marketplace, it is essential to learn as much as possible about the conditions in overseas market. Now, you want to succeed in global marketplace, then you need to know about the conditions in overseas markets. Okay. So this introduces the subject that how you can get success. Now we are talking about in the past. We are relating with this sentence, the first one, which says in the past, companies with international aspirations. So we are talking about overseas markets here, and now we are focusing upon the companies with international aspirations, simply familiarized themselves with any differences in the legal system or in the procedures used in the day-to-day business of import and export. Modern trade, however, this word however is basically says it's a thought reversal. It changes the idea what happened in the past and what is happening today. It is functioning as a connector between the two sentences. Modern trade, however, demands more from companies, and what it demands today, the company seeking international success must also understand the people who live and work in countries they deal with, how they think, behave, and do business. So when we look at the answer order, it will be 4, 1, 2, 3 for this question. Let's look at the next question. It mentions, now it focuses on what? It focuses on the article in a magazine. Therefore, 3 must be the starting statement. Should celebs always have a take, ask an article in a magazine? Okay. It mentions a video on TikTok that questioned an influencer's possible views on the Israel-Palestine crisis. So immediately after 3, we have 1 because we have a mandatory pair here where 1 talks about the article. And now look at the question. Question on influential possible views. We say, do you guys even care about the issue? or do you care about influencers caring about the issue? Now, we had talked about influencers' possible views on the Israel-Palestine crisis. So, we are saying influencers caring about the issue. Which issue we are talking about? The Israel-Palestine crisis. So, after 3 and then 1, and we will get 4. Okay. And the last sentence will be what? The second, which is a kind of concluding, or it's talking overall about the sentence. Social media has given us the expectation that every video, every tweet needs to be irreproachable. Irreproachable means without fault, and encompass the lived experiences of the audience. Encompass basically means it covers it, like kind of includes everything. Therefore, the answer order for this question will be 3, 1, 4, 2. Look at the last one. 3 will be the starting statement. It talks about 12,500 leopards in India stray into villages. They stray into villages due to their shrinking habitat. And it explains with an example which is mentioned in the one. In a recent incident, villagers in a tea estate were shocked to find a leopard cub in a trench. Now be careful, before like it was taken to the area where she was discovered and reunited with her mother, the wildlife vet examined and declared it to be uninjured and but dehydrated. So after one, the sentence that must follow is fourth. The wildlife vet has examined and now they are going to the area where she was discovered and reunited with her mother. So the answer order with this question will be what? 3, 1, 4, 2.